Hi everyone, my name is Daniel Haugland. I'm an analyst here at ABG, and I will be moderating this call with StrongPoint, which is a very exciting Norwegian retail technology firm, now also going into the UK with its latest acquisition. I guess Jakob will be talking more about that shortly, but it's my pleasure to welcome Jakob, the CEO of the company, Jakob Tarbakk. So I'll just give the word to you. It will be around 15 to 20 minutes of presentation, and then we'll do a Q&A at the end. So Jakob, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and welcome everybody to this short presentation of StrongPoint. If you just go to the next page, we'll talk very briefly about what is StrongPoint. You're right, we are a Norway-based, or I say Nordic-based, because our presence in Sweden is also quite strong. Efficiency obsessed, which stems out of the fact of being a Nordic-based company with high labor cost in general, which spurs a lot of very interesting technologies for retailers and grocery retailers in particular, in the rest of Europe and North America in particular. We provide both in-store solutions and also e-commerce logistics solutions that I will talk a bit about. And the unique thing about StrongPoint is that we both own software and hardware, and also integrate that with some of the world-leading partners like Pricer and AutoStore to provide a end-to-end solution for customers, whether that is in-store solutions or e-commerce solutions. And in the countries we are present, we are doing not only the pre-sales and sales, but also installation service support, which enables us to get a very, very good grip of helping customers with what really matters for them. On the next page, the mandatory map to show where we are. We're now in 8 geographies actually: Norway, Sweden, the 3 Baltic countries, and Spain. And now lastly, with the acquisition of Airlink Group, we are also in the UK and in Ireland. We're not a new company. We've actually been around for 35 years and are now listed at the Oslo Stock Exchange. We have about now, or in excess of 450 employees with the last acquisition. And our solution is pretty much in all countries across Europe and also in North America. If we go to the next page, we'll talk about what we at StrongPoint have called the double opportunity. So e-commerce category killers like you would know out of the Nordics with Europris, Normal, and also hard discounters are challenging the traditional grocery retailers on 2 fronts. On the one hand side, the move of volume or sales from the traditional stores, either online or to these category killers and hard discounters, is putting a pressure on the grocery retailers' margin. So taking away the sales with pretty much a big part of the cost base being fixed puts a margin squeeze on these companies. And we believe that one of the absolute important ways to withstand that margin pressure is in the introduction of technology solutions. The other major opportunities within e-commerce. So e-commerce in itself is both driving the changes in store, but it's also a source of opportunity for StrongPoint. We have now the full range of e-commerce solutions and e-commerce logistics solutions, from the fulfillment solutions, whether that is manually or automated picked, to the full range of last mile solutions. So whether you are a grocery retailer or retailer about to start the e-commerce journey, or in the midst of the journey, or actually rather mature, we have the solution for you. That's the double opportunity for StrongPoint. On the next page, we have in today's environment with higher inflation, with fuel costs going up, with electricity rates going up, at the same time as we've lifted or trying to get into a normalized world after COVID, you could argue that, well, what are really safe havens in today's environment? And we would argue that regardless of what happens in the turmoil, you still need the food and vegetables and food and drinks. And whereas we are all keen to go to restaurants and to canteens, the grocery store, whether that is in the store or e-commerce, will continue to live on very, very strongly going forward. And that's exactly the market that StrongPoint is serving. So on the next page, just very superficially, the range of solutions that StrongPoint has in its portfolio. In the in-store solutions, we have best-in-class self-checkout solutions with image recognition that makes our solution stand out from the traditional self-checkout solutions you will find in Norway and Sweden today. So we're getting that into the market also in the home countries. Electronic shelf labels from Pricer, we've been a long-standing partner for many, many years. We have our traditional VenSafe solution, our cash card solution, but also more cutting-edge technologies such as the humanoid grocery robot or humanoid robot from Hello Robotics, able to perform tasks in store to withstand the pressure on the margins that we see there with higher labor costs. On the right-hand side, you will see an illustration of the e-commerce logistics solutions I mentioned, whether that is in-store picking, dark store picking, or automated picking, or whether that is the last mile solutions with home deliveries, grocery lockers, stationary or mobile, or drive-through solutions. So we have a full range of solutions to offer to our customers. If you go to the next page, the T-shaped strategy, we've called it, meaning we are dedicated to go deep in some core markets. And this is, again, with the UK and Ireland, we're now into 8 markets. And when we go deep into markets, we define that as not, quote unquote, only selling a solution, but doing the full range from installation, service, support in those markets. That enables us to not only serve customers well, but also grab a very nice portion of the full value created in the selling of a solution or product. In addition to that, we do have some proprietary solutions that we believe are right for the world market. Most notably is the e-commerce order fulfillment platform that we have, and that you in Sweden would have seen a lot of, whether it's the order picking that you don't really see but experience when you see the order picking being fulfilled in stores, or whether there is the last mile solutions with, for instance, our click and collect lockers. So we've defined a number of these of solutions that to be taken also outside the countries we're going deep in. Next page, please. At StrongPoint, some 2 years ago, just prior to the COVID-19, we set forth a very ambitious financial ambition and a strategy to follow. And that was to grow our business to 2.5 billion Norwegian kroner in 2025 and get to an EBITDA margin of 13 to 15%. And when we launched this, we had a turnover of about 1 billion and an EBITDA margin just south of 9%. Since then, and going into the next page, we've divested a number of non-core assets, most notably cash security and labels production. So that used to be on top of the 1 billion, but since then we've grown the business and laid out a plan to grow to 2.5 in such a manner where obviously e-commerce logistics in itself is very important. M&A, I'll talk about more about both these two topics in a second, and also improving the way that we serve the in-store efficiency market. If you now go to the next page and we'll look at how have we tracked on on the path to this now, because what we showed on the previous page was a implied CAGR of 26%. We're now at a CAGR of 22%. So when you strip out the non-core assets that we sold and got a very, very decent price for, we've invested those or parts of those funds into, amongst others, the Airlink group acquisition that we did. So with pro forma last year numbers, we're then looking at 22% growth on top, which then includes a very strong organic growth. Next page, please. For us, going forward, it's important to emphasize that both what we do in e-commerce and what we do with in-store efficiency solutions is going to be important. In 2021, e-commerce was a mere 11% of the total turnover. As you could see from the earlier slide, you will see that a major part of the growth will be coming from e-commerce. We believe that solutions we have really are world-class and are ripe for the international market. And we've just started to scratch that. We last year announced the partnership agreement with Glovo, the leading or one of the leading delivery platforms in Europe. And for those of you that have been following the market, Delivery Hero, the giant in Europe and internationally, announced the acquisition of Glovo. So we're very proud to see that world-class platforms, the tech platforms like Glovo, are selecting the StrongPoint solutions also in e-commerce. And we're starting to see also the grocery retailers seeing exactly that. Next page, please. For those of you that are, I would say, still skeptical in which direction e-commerce is going, and you could argue with the pandemic now easing or being removed in most parts of the world, you would expect to see a dip in e-commerce penetration. And that might be true, but that blip is really a blip. I think history has shown over many, many cycles that regardless of what kind of retail sector you're talking about, the penetration will continue to grow over cycles. And grocery still is overall in the markets we're looking at a single-digit penetration. So there's lots of potential still in the grocery retail market in e-commerce. On the next page, you will see what we are expecting over the next 5 years to be the addressable market for some of our solutions. We're looking at the picking solution growth, which is the in-store picking at the decent CAGRs, but where we are expecting to take a much larger market share. On the right-hand side, you obviously have the micro-fulfillment centers or the automated picking, which you're expecting to see a massive growth in, where we are very proud to be a distributor of AutoStore and actually the world's first grocery-specific distributor of the AutoStore solution. And in the middle here, we have our click and collect lockers, again, that you in Sweden would have come to get accustomed to. We're expecting a very massive growth also in that area, in particular in new markets where traditionally home deliveries have been strong. So we're expecting massive growth in e-commerce going forward, and we'll take a massive part in that. Next page, please. So to sum up, sort of priorities for StrongPoint going forward. Number one, it's to execute on the in-store strategy that we have. We believe that in order to succeed in grocery and retail in general going forward, you need to ride the tide of the turmoil that is happening. As an example, and I know my good friend Magnus Larsson at Price were talking about how the turmoil is actually creating a market for ESLs that we've grown accustomed to in Norway and Sweden. And we're dedicated to take those solutions and other solutions that are proprietary outside the Nordics. We're truly dedicated to leverage on the e-commerce logistics market that is out there. Again, despite the blip that is happening in this quarter maybe. For many grocery retailers, we're expecting a continued massive growth there. And at StrongPoint, we will continue the momentum that we have in M&A. And with that note, I think we should go to the next page. Just a few words about the acquisition we announced that we have signed the SPA on last Friday, ALS or Airlink Group. Airlink Group is or has been a family-owned business with more than 20 years in the UK and Irish market, performing installation, service, construction, and engineering for some of the finest grocery retailers in the UK. They already have experience with temperature control lockers, self-checkouts, and vending solutions. And when you have this kind of platform to work out of, we believe obviously that we can create lots of value on top of the good foundation ALS already has with bringing our solutions to the market. Our e-commerce solutions portfolio, our VendSafe solution, our self-checkout solution, and also some of the third-party solutions that we believe is right for the UK market. So very optimistic and positive about both the UK and Irish market going forward. So to round off before questions, on the next page, what are we expecting in today's situation with lots of turmoil? Well, first of all, if there are any, I wouldn't say safe havens, but if there is one market to be positive about, it is the resilient market of grocery retail that StrongPoint is very focused and oriented towards. Yes, we are seeing a pressure on supply chains as well, and those that have been following the StrongPoint would have seen that at least for the past 3 quarters, we have also announced what kind of growth we would have had unless or if we had not been impacted by the component shortages. However, that aside, we have experienced a very strong growth, so that just proves there is even more demand in the market. And then lastly, for any in particular new listeners to StrongPoint, you should know that we are investing heavily in the future. And what is particular for a company like StrongPoint as a retail technology company is that you will not find a lot of our investments in the balance sheet. We're expensing all the investments that we're doing directly. So there's no hidden balance posts expecting huge growth as we still are expecting, but we're being very conservative, expensing all the R&D investments that we're doing. So with that, thank you, and I'm open for any questions there might be.
Thank you, Jacob. So I think I can start out. You touched a bit upon the challenge retailers are facing with regards both to in-store being pressured from e-com, and now during COVID, e-com has seen a very good boost, at least in some geographies. So I was thinking, could you maybe give a bit more flavor on how grocers are talking to you now about e-com? Are they approaching it more in a wait-and-see approach, or is it rather like they think this change is coming now anyway and will continue to invest?
So I think, first of all retailers or grocery retailers see e-commerce growing. All e-commerce or all grocery retailers see that there is no way that you could be a grocery retailer in the future without any kind of e-commerce offering. That might not be so evident if you're sitting in Norway, where the e-commerce penetration is still very low. But everybody knows that e-commerce is going to be an important part of the public or consumer and customer offering going forward. So I think, first of all, it depends very much on the market. But that said, we all know that the grocery market is a market in which changes happens over time. And we have very promising discussions across the geographies that we are serving to serve the different markets, whether that is very mature markets like the UK or less mature markets like the Nordics or Finland for that matter.
And obviously, this will be an important growth driver when you look at the bridge you present from 2021 to 25. That e-com logistics will be an important driver there, and is that like tilted to some specific countries in your mind going towards 2025, or do you also think it's more of a broad game going towards that?
In general, it's hard to find geographies in which e-commerce is not expected to grow through the cycles, right? First of all, that said, of course, there are certain markets that we would like to be more present in than others, just because they're more ripe for the solutions. But that said, I think we should dare to be somewhat bullish and proud here, because our e-commerce solution, first and foremost, stems out of the acquisition that StrongPoint did some 4.5 years ago of a company called Coop. What we realized then is that the solutions that Swedish grocery retailers have been benefiting from really all are world class. We invested significant amounts of funds making the solution both scalable and cloud-based. And that is the solution that we're now bringing out to grocery retailers. And just earlier today, I was in a customer call with one of the premier grocery retailers in Europe. Not very known, well, StrongPoint was not very known to them, and not least our solution, but you know, the efficiency, the picking efficiency we are able to display is absolutely something that's casting shades all across Europe. So we have high expectations for the e-commerce. That's correct.
Great. And we can just touch a bit on this UK acquisition of Airlink now. Now this already seems like a quite decent business. You look at the 10% margins, especially given that it's more of an installation business, at least to my understanding. Could you talk a little bit about how you will work now to develop that market further through ALS, for example, selling StrongPoint solutions into their prime UK customers, etc.?
Yes. Well, first of all, I have to just underline what you just said. I mean, we're adding 240 million kroners with a 10% EBITDA to the business, and know that it's out there. I mean, our purchase price is 9.5 million pounds. So you do the math. We believe it's a very decently paid price in the eyes of StrongPoint shareholders. That said, right, this is a fantastic platform for us to bring the solutions that we have in. I mean, we have to recognize that in order to work with the Tesco's of the world, Poundland, Sainsbury, I mean, these kinds of customer relations is not something you build over weeks or months. And ALS spent 20 years building these relations. That said, we also know that if you look at the UK market, that is alongside the France, this is the most highest penetrated European market in e-commerce. Highly inefficient in many manners. This is where the StrongPoint solutions come in, whether that is on the picking side or on the last mile side, including with the lockers. The UK is also the what should you call it, the capital of self-checkout, and they've yet to experience the own produced or proprietary built self-checkout solution, both hardware and software, that we have out, and it's a market leader out in the Baltics. We're expecting that to be of high importance in the UK market. So we have, again, you know, very, very high expectations about what we can build on top of the ALS platform. Right now, in the short term, the boring priority, so to speak, is sort of to maintain the amazing business that has been built. We are very careful about any kind of acquisition leading to questions and turmoil in the target organization. We feel confident that we have motivated, incentivized the correct people at ALS, and are keen to make sure we have a very, very solid base before introducing new solutions. But it's a very, very promising acquisition we've done, we believe, in the UK and Ireland.
Great. I see we've reached our hard cut on time now. So I just want to say thank you to Jakob and to StrongPoint for presenting. And as you all know, StrongPoint, we have a commissioned research coverage of StrongPoint. You can find our latest research on our website, and you can obviously also find both webcasts and presentation material at StrongPoint website. So with that, thank you, Jacob. Have a good day.